Hello, friend. This is Ryan Hicks of talktoprofit.com. Today I want to talk to you about a question I have for you. Are your standards high enough? And I want to give you a success test that will show you really if your standards are high enough or not. And I'm not going to belabor the point. I'm going to go straight into it. And I'm going to go straight into the test. The test is very simple. When you look at your life and observe it, imagine yourself as an observer of your life. Don't get caught up in the emotions of being in your life and the experiences and this thing that happened and that thing that happened. Might have been good or bad, didn't matter. Get away from that and just imagine yourself as an outward observer looking at your life. Would you, looking at that life, say, that is a standard that lives up to the Christian ideal? That is a standard that glorifies God. That is a standard that exalts Christ. That is a standard that looks very different from average, very different from the world, very different from what everyone else is doing. Or, you got to be honest to yourself, does your standard seem subpar? Can you tell from your life and the results in your life that maybe you really haven't been holding yourself to the highest standard? Understand, this is not so you can beat yourself up. Oh, I've been doing that. No. It's not about that at all. It's about recognizing where you are. Because very many people who watch my videos are high performers already. And so they might have a tendency to beat themselves up because they already hold themselves to a high standard. But I don't want you to just have a high standard. I want you to have a world-class standard, a standard that is so above average that no one could confuse you with being average. No one could dare say that you're just a normal person. Everything about your life is different. There used to be years ago, people were talking about the 99% against the 1%. And it was seen as some sort of battle or whatever, the rich and the poor, or not even the poor necessarily, because a lot of those 99% are not poor. But there's this idea that there's these people and they're the top 1%. But I want you to think differently. I want you to be in the top 1%, not in that little class divide that people have themselves in. You're above all that. I want you to be in the top 1% in every area of your life, physically, mentally, spiritually, financially, every area, to be you operating at your maximum potential. And you can only get there by having a world-class standard, having a standard that's so far above average that you could never be confused with those average people, those mere mortals who are just living lives of quiet desperation, who are just going through life, being entertained, living to be a mindless consumer. When you are a creator, a co-creator with God, and you can do things in this world that average people just can't. They have their dreams, they have their hopes, they may make New Year's resolutions, they do all this stuff and nothing happens. But you are a different type of person, a different type of person who would even watch a video like this. Average people aren't going to watch this video. They're going to be off watching the latest gossip and the news and whatever little entertainment that's mindless and doesn't require them to think or challenge themselves in the least, doesn't require any kind of self-examination. They're not going to be watching this video. So I know you're a different type of person. You're most likely a very high-performing person, or you're moving toward being a more high-performing person. You're already at a different level. But I do not want you to confuse you're already being at a different level, already having a higher standard than average people, with being the place where you settle. Because for you and your current standard, which may be higher than everyone else, and that's good, you can go even higher. You can raise your standard even higher. You don't want to get confused and fall for that trap of going, well, I'm better than most people. That's not a standard. That's the lowest of standards. You want to be performing better than you were the day before. Your standard is to be better and raise the bar for yourself. And where you are at this particular moment in time should be better than you were the day before. And the only way you'll get to that is if you hold yourself to the absolute highest standard. You're being conformed to the image of Christ. You've renewed your mind to the truth, and you've been transformed by that renewing of your mind, and you start operating differently in this world. You start approaching life very differently. You start taking life seriously. And when the thought comes up, the temptation to squander your life on some trivial endeavors, you say, no, I hold myself to a higher standard. and you go do the things you know you're to be doing. You go do those things that God's called you to do. You go and do more productive activities, not the mindless consumerism of the world, whether it be consuming of products or consuming of entertainment. It's all the same mindlessness. It's not thoughtful. It's not productive. It's not useful. It's actually debilitating to the individual, trapped in that rut, trapped in seeking entertainment and mindlessly consuming. You don't want to be in that. And you will have temptation all around you to drag you into that. But you just have to be the person of character who says, no, I don't do that. I hold myself to the highest standard. And so as I stated, the simple test, the success test to see where your standards are, and if they're high enough, is to look at your life. Are you satisfied with your life? Is this the best it's going to ever get? Now, I don't care where you are. It can get better. God's abundance does not stop with wherever you are today. That's not the best you could possibly do. There is another level you can reach to. There's another level you can obtain by the faith of God. But it's going to require you to act differently. It's going to require you to do more in many cases. But it will pay great dividends. My friend, the blessing of the Lord, it makes rich, and he has no sorrow with it. There is great goodness and blessing available to you right here and now. But you're going to have to raise your standards. I don't care how far you obtained, and you should be glorifying God for wherever you've reached so far. That's great. But now it's time to raise your standards. Now it's time to elevate yourself to a world-class standard where you are so far beyond what is average, what is normal, what is mediocre, what is acceptable by the common folks. Listen, you don't want to be associated with the common folks. They're common. They're vulgar. They're like average. They're not thinking. They're not mindful people. They're not thoughtful about their lives. They're not living righteously. They're not doing the things that would glorify God with their lives. There's nothing about that to be envious of. You should be wanting to live a life that glorifies God. You should want to be the most productive you could possibly be. This does not mean, because many people will confuse this, this does not mean just going out and working some job somewhere, or maybe working 2 jobs and working 100 hours a week. That's not what it means. There are all kinds of areas of your life, not just your business, that you can be productive in. You should be productive in. And the world-class standard is really summed up with this. You do your all, and whatever you do it unto the Lord. If you really hold yourself to that standard, you honestly, with integrity, hold yourself to that standard, you can't go into the nonsense, the mindless entertainment, mindless consumerism of the world. You just can't. You can't get caught up in that trap. You instantly see it for what it is. It's just the love of the world. There's nothing good in it. There's nothing beneficial in it. It doesn't help you and it doesn't help anyone else. So rise above that. Set your standard to a higher level. This might require you getting up earlier. It might require you working later. It might not. I don't know. You know what God is leading you to do. You need to go with that. But what I do know is it's never going to let you be lazy. It's never going to let you be just like everyone else. It's never going to let you to do all the things they do and take all the shortcuts they take and make all the excuses they make. Your high standard, your world-class standard, does not accept that. And my friend, if you'll raise your standard today, truly living to do your all unto the Lord, you will become one of the greatest successes that has ever been on the planet. My friend, I pray this is a blessing for you. May God bless you richly.